Hello, I'm Liz, one of Derry's reference librarians, and welcome to another episode of Misinformation Busters. Once a week, we tackle a rumor or a false or misunderstood story, and we try to separate fact from fiction. This week, we're going back to a familiar topic. Someone is destroying books! So, what's the story? About a year back, I covered a story where someone had seen a dumpster, or really a recycling bin, full of library books and claimed that the library was trying to erase history. Turns out those books were 30 to 40 years old, really outdated, and no one would take them as a donation. And since my video is more about the weeding process, I only offhandedly mentioned that the books would likely be pulped, meaning the books would be kind of crushed and the remaining material would be used for other material. But some people don't like that either, and they see it as the destruction of a book, something akin to book burning. And we'll still get calls from people trying to find where to donate old encyclopedias, saying that they don't want them destroyed. But is book pulping really that nefarious? So, what are the facts? The short answer is no. In fact, book pulping is kind of a necessity in today's publishing world. When you have hundreds of thousands of copies of the newest James Patterson, you know not all of them will sell, or if they do sell, they'll be resold, but just eventually they're going to end up being recycled. And book recycling isn't new. In the 17th century, pages from unsold, unused books were used as end leaves in other books. Book covers were also reused, so the idea of repurposing unsold books is something that has been around for centuries. More recently, I found an LA Times article from 1995 discussing a company called Guaranteed Destruction. That company would recycle unsold books. The president, Michael Apposimato, talked about the process that would turn old books into paper that could be used for new books. Quote, "Books into books, that's the new slogan." Your book likely has some recycled paper in it or was delivered in a box made from recycled paper. The fact is, there are books that don't sell and donation places will not take, and I think of it as at least they're going to good use rather than just sitting in a landfill. And in fact, when books are recycled, it actually saves some energy, trees, oil, etc. Still, the environmental upsides are not enough for some, and I have had patrons compare book pulping to something like 1984 or Fahrenheit 451, and I think that comes from a good, albeit misguided place. So, as a librarian, I'm telling you it's okay. Book pulping is not like book burning. We have these really stark images in our head from World War II of Nazis burning books, and that's informed how a lot of people view books, which isn't bad. Books should be protected. The freedom to read should be protected. Still, it's good to be protective of a book, but we need to remember it's not the book itself. It's what the book contains. Let's do a little history lesson. Once upon a time in Germany, there was a place called, brace for it, I'm going to mangle some German, Institute for Sexual Wissenschaft, or the Institute for Sex Research. This institute was well known for its relatively humane approach of, and the recording of, queer people. Rather than trying to cure gay or transgender people, the institute tried to help them live their lives, study them for further treatment, or lobbied for their rights in society. Actually, there was a larger push for gay rights in Weimar Germany. And this isn't to say that the people who ran the institute were perfect, far from it, but for its time it was groundbreaking. The Nazis were famously brutal to queer people. They banned clubs, queer social groups, and eventually rounded up queer people to send to concentration camps. In 1933, they seized the research of the institute and burned it. Over 20,000 books, journals, and other materials were destroyed. And when you see pictures of books being burned, there's a good chance you are seeing the burning of these materials. The Nazis did not burn these books because they hated books. They burned these books because of the ideas. They hated what the research promoted. Nazis didn't see queer people as human or deserving of rights or a space in society. And we all know where that led. At the end of the day, no one is pulping an unsold Twilight book or a James Patterson novel because of the ideas. So, rather than focusing on or nearly fetishizing the book as an object, let's show more concern for the ideas within. Thank you for watching, and as always, check for the sources in the comments, or feel free to research using our EBSCO databases, which are available through the library's website. Or, when in doubt, ask a librarian.